Hi there, I'm Julie, and in this video, I will show you how to crochet a merry-go-round horse as part of a community crochet project within the Autry Museum show Investigating Griffith Park, which celebrates the 125th anniversary of the park. This crochet project is offered in memory of Julio Gosdinski, the beloved operator and co-owner of the Griffith Park Merry-go-round, who passed away in August 2020. For this project, I will demonstrate the steps for making the horse base, and then you can use your own sensibility and originality to design the merry-go-round horse however you like. Please send in your piece to the address provided at the end of the video so that it can be included in the exhibition. For this project, you'll need at least 3 colors of yarn. I used a worsted weight yarn for the horse and mane, but all the surface designs on the horse were crocheted or embroidered using a thinner yarn or thread, generally fingering or sock weight. For this project, please be sure to use acrylic yarn to reduce the chance of pests getting into the gallery. I used a G hook or 4.0 for the body of the horse and a D hook or 3.25 when adding decorative detail. You'll also need scissors and a tapestry needle for embroidering on any detail and sewing in the ends. To begin, we'll make a slip knot and chain 6. Then we'll single crochet in the second chain from the hook. And also in the next 3 chain stitches. In the last chain here, we're actually going to place 3 single crochet stitches to turn the corner. So that we can work on the back of the chain. So we'll single crochet in each of the next 3 chain stitches. And then in that last chain where we placed the first single crochet, we'll make another single crochet. Now, we're going to chain 4. And actually, in this side of the single crochet we just made before the chain 4, we're going to place 2 treble crochets. So for a treble, remember it's yarn over twice, insert the hook, again in this strange place, the side of the single crochet, and draw up a loop. 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2. And we're going to place another treble in exactly the same place. Now there's another treble, but this time, rather than in the side of the single crochet, we're going to place it here. This little hole here created by that first chain we made that had the 2 single crochets in it. So we're going to place a treble crochet there now. Okay, in the next stitch, which is the very first single crochet stitch we made, we're going to place a double crochet, a half double crochet, and a single crochet. All in that same stitch. Now single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches again. And half double crochet and 2 double crochets in the next stitch. So half double crochet and 2 double crochets all in the same stitch. The next stitch gets 3 treble crochets, try that one again. The next stitch gets a double and a half double crochet, and then we'll work single crochets, 1 in each of the next 4 stitches. Sorry, single. There you go. Now this is the 3rd round, and we'll start by making a single crochet in the first 2 chain stitches that we made in the last round. So here's the first chain. And the second one. Okay, now we're going to make a half double crochet in the next chain. And then a double and 2 treble crochets in that last chain. Oops. And here's the last treble. Okay, so there's the double and 2 trebles. Now we will make 2 trebles in the next treble crochet. One and 2. Okay, and we'll start working on the hind leg with 12 chain stitches. 11 and 12. Okay. So we'll then start working in these chain stitches. Skip the first chain and single crochet in each of the next 2 chain stitches. I like to work in the back ridge when I'm doing this part. So 2 single crochets then in the next chain, and we'll single crochet in the next 4 chains. So 1 in each. Okay. Now we'll skip the next chain and single crochet in the next chain after that. So skipping 1 and then single crochet in the next one, half double crochet in the one after that, and 2 double crochets in the last chain. Oops, let's try that again. Now we'll slip stitch to the next stitch on the body. So the last one, we had 2 trebles in there. We're going to go to the next stitch, which is right here. So there, we have our first hind leg. Now continuing on to the belly, we're going to slip stitch in the next stitch, and then 3 single crochets, one in each of the next 3 stitches. So there's 1, 2, and 3. 2 single crochets in the next stitch, and single crochet in each of the next 4 stitches. Now we're going to start work on the front leg. So for the front leg, we'll chain 12, now we skip the last chain we made, the one that's closest to the hook, and single crochet in that second chain from the hook, and in the next 4 chain stitches. Okay, now we'll do 3 single crochets in the next chain. And 1 single crochet in each of the next 4 chains. Then we'll put a half double crochet in this last chain stitch. And slip stitch into the next stitch on the horse's torso. So here's the last place we had a stitch. We're going to work in here with the slip stitch. Okay. Now we need to put 2 single crochets into the next 2 stitches. And this is what it looks like so far. We're going to work the head and neck next. So you'll begin the head and neck with 10 chains. I think one more. Let's check. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Great. Now we're going to skip the first 3 chains and double crochet into the next 2. So that's 1, 2, 3. Double crochet. Again, I'm working in that back ridge. So I double crochet in the next one. In the next chain, we're going to work 2 double crochets in the same place. And in the next chain, it'll be 2 treble crochets. Now we're going to chain 3 and slip stitch in this 3rd chain from the hook to make the horse's ear. Now we'll slip stitch, chain, and half double crochet in the side of the last treble crochet that we made. So slip stitch, chain, and half double crochet all in sort of the top part of that treble crochet. Now we're going to place 2 more double crochets in the side of the treble post. There's sort of a loop in the middle and towards the bottom of the treble, so I like to place my stitches there. So double crochet 1 here and then one towards the bottom. Now we're back to the chain stitches, and we are going to treble in the next chain stitch. So it's just one treble, but we'll place 2 treble stitches in the next chain stitch. So here's the next chain. And in the last chain, we'll actually place 2 double trebles. So for that, it's yarn over 3 times and insert the hook there into your last chain stitch, drop a loop. That's 5 loops, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2, yarn over, draw through 2, and yarn over, draw through 2. So do another double treble in that same chain. So yarn over 3 times. Now, in the horse's base, we're going to skip 3 stitches and slip stitch to the very next stitch. Now we'll find the scissors and cut the yarn and pull the end through the loop. Fasten off. So now we're still missing a couple of legs, and we'll make the mane and the tail. Now we'll start working on the second hind leg. Now this will be made separately and then sewn on to the horse after we're done with it. We'll start with a slip knot and chain 11. Okay. Now single crochet in the second chain from the hook, and 2 single crochets in the next chain. And now we'll single crochet in each of the next 3 chain stitches. And single crochet 3 together over the next 3 chain stitches. So insert the hook into that first stitch and draw up a loop, and insert the hook into the next chain stitch and draw up a loop, and now insert the hook into the third chain stitch and draw up a loop. You'll have 4 loops on your hook, yarn over and draw through all 4 stitches, and then we'll single crochet in the next chain stitch, and then double and 2 double crochets in the last stitch. Now we'll cut the yarn and fasten off. Okay, now we'll work on the second front leg. Similar to the hind leg, this will be made separately and then attached to the body of the horse. and we'll start with that slip knot and 12 chains. Single crochet in the second chain from the hook, so that's 1, 2, and also in the next 3 chains. That's 1, we'll place 3 single crochets in the next chain stitch. And then a single crochet in the next 3 chain stitches. Now we'll be doing a half double crochet 2 together over the next 2 chains. So yarn over and insert the hook, draw up a loop. Then we're going to do that again in the next chain, yarn over, insert the hook, draw up a loop, and yarn over and draw through all 5 loops. And in the last chain, we will half double crochet. Now we'll fasten off leaving a long enough tail that you can sew it on. So for the 2 legs you just made, you'll want to be careful in placing them to make sure they look like a horse would hold their legs. And you sew it onto the back and just make sure that it's a little shorter than the other leg and a little more inside that way. And then the front leg also would go inside and make sure that it's a little shorter than the other leg, something like that. And when you're sewing, just be sure to make it secure, sewing back and forth at least 3 times to secure it in place. Now I'm going to put these legs aside for now. We're going to work on the tail and the mane. So using a different color, if you'd like. We're going to measure out how long we'd like the tail to be on the horse. I think maybe that, and then we're going to double it and add just a little bit more. Great. And now we're going to make 3 strands of yarn the same length. And with this yarn, we're going to fold it in half and attach it to the horse like you would a fringe. So I don't want, the connection to show on the horse, so I'm attaching it to a loop that's in the back that you can't see, and drawing that center of all 3 strands at the same time through, making sure to get all 3, and then in that loop that's created, you're going to pull through the tail, the ends, the ends of the tail, the tail's tail. And pull it tight, but try not to stretch out your yarn. Now I made mine just a little long, but there, you can trim it at that point if you'd like. Now for the mane, I did not make mine free-flowing in this example, but instead I stitched it on, so more like what you would see in a merry-go-round. So for the mane, you're going to draw up a loop in the last stitch of the neck. You're turning your horse to the back side, and you draw up a loop in that last stitch. Now chain 1 and double crochet in the next stitch. Chain 1 and slip stitch in the next stitch. Now chain 1 and double crochet, chain 1 and slip stitch. And you're going to do that one more time. Chain 1 and double crochet, chain 1 and slip stitch. For the next one, you're going to chain 1 and half double crochet in the next stitch, chain 1 and slip stitch in the next stitch. You might have to check the front to make sure the stitch is in the right place. And then you're going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches, slowly making your way behind the ear. So you're going to just choose some stitches behind the ear, some loops to place your crochet in. Some of them are harder to access than others. And place a single crochet there. And then I also slip stitched in a stitch just past the ear, so you can see a little bit of the mane on the front of the horse. There we go. Now you fasten off and draw the end through the loop. Let's see how that looks. So that's one way you can do the mane. Or you could also make a fringe like you did the tail. Now let's make the merry-go-round pole. I happen to have some gold yarn in a fingering weight, which I thought would go nicely for the pole. And I made a chain of 33 stitches, and then I'm going to single crochet back and forth 2 times. So of course you skip the last chain and then start single crocheting all the way down. When you get to the end, do your turning chain and single crochet all the way back. You'll fasten off and then attach to the back of your merry-go-round horse. Now we're going to add some decorative detail. Probably the most important part of this would be to embroider some facial features onto the horse. And you'll certainly want to embroider it rather than using surface crochet, because this part needs to be fairly precise. Also, when you're embroidering, you want to make sure to go through the small spaces in the middle of the stitch, rather than working so much in these spaces in between, which are much less precise, although there could be times when you work in that space for lack of another one. But continue working on embroidery until you're satisfied with the results. And at that point, you may want to consider doing some surface crochet, like maybe the harness or the saddle or other parts of the tack. You may want to consult images of merry-go-round horses, especially those in Griffith Park, for inspiration. But I will demonstrate how I surface crochet on the horse to add details. So you do start with a slip knot, and you insert the hook from the front to the back, and then place the slip knot on the hook and draw it to the front. Now you're going to move in whatever direction you'd like the line that you're drawing with the yarn to go. So I'm going to insert the hook here and then drop a loop to the front from the yarn on the back and draw that top loop through the bottom loop. So you're surface crocheting or slip stitching on the surface of the piece. Now insert the hook in the next point. Again, you're working sort of in the middle of stitches rather than in between them to be more precise, and continue onward. In addition to making lines with the surface crochet and embroidery, you can also fill in spaces by just making these stitches line up next to each other. So continue doing this until you're finished decorating your merry-go-round horse. And thank you so much for watching the video. I look forward to seeing your Griffith Park merry-go-round horses. Take care.